Night 2 with Mario Cantone. You know, we didn't even introduce you properly last week. I think people know who you are. I mean, star of stage and screen, Sex and the City, the Sex and the City movies, the sequel. I don't know whether you guys call it a sequel.
Yeah,
but,
it is a sequel. And just like that.
Both seasons now available on Max.
Yep. Yes.
Congratulations on all your success. You're on many, many game shows.
I love the game shows. It's classic. I'm the Charles Nelson Riley of 2023.
Not quite a big enough star to be invited to game shows.
What do you mean? You'd be great. Yes, you are.
Oh, I love it.
You'd be great on a game show.
I would love
If I go on Family Feud, I'll take you with me because you are my brother.
Tonight is a big night on TCM, on Creepy Cinema.
Yes.
Our night 2 of 5. This is evil Robert Mitchum.
Oh, this is bad, dirty, filthy Robert Mitchum. I love him. First, I've been thinking about pairing these two movies, Cape Fear and Night of the Hunter, which is after this, since we did this 2 years ago. When I finally watched them again, I was just like, boy, I haven't seen them in so long. And Cape Fear is just really scary. It's about a guy who is getting out of jail for rape, but they removed that word from the screenplay, but you know that's what it is. And Mitchum is so scary and just, he's like a sexy, evil snake in this.
This is 1962,
yes.
This movie. This is Gregory Peck as a Southern lawyer in 1962. This is the same year as To Kill a Mockingbird.
Exactly. Very different characters, though.
Very different characters. So Martin Scorsese, of course, remade this movie brilliantly. Both Gregory Peck and Robert Mitchum have little cameos.
Yep.
The stars of the Scorsese one are De Niro and Nick Nolte.
Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange and Juliette Lewis. I think this one is better, all because of Mitchum, and that's not taking anything away from De Niro, who's one of the great actors of all time. Somehow, the threat that Mitchum poses here is as menacing and as unnerving as any bad guy in any movie that I can think of.
And he's also De Niro's version of this character, which is brilliant also. It's a little more heightened. It's a little more charactery, but it's so brilliant and grounded. And Mitchum is kind of under. He's playing it a little under.
He's using that Mitchum charm also.
He's using what's in him anyway as an actor.
You didn't remember me right off, did you? Well, I guess I've changed a little. Where I've been, if you don't change, they're real disappointed.
You watch these two movies tonight, there is no way.
And he's a troubled guy, Mitchum. He, you know, as a kid, he was arrested for vagrancy, and he had a diversion to Savannah where they were supposed to film some of this, and he wouldn't do it because he was put on a chain gang down there as a kid. I mean, you know, he's been through it. He had history. And he was not the usual star. He wasn't a flashy guy.
I don't like talking about Oscars as a measure of somebody's success because, you know, Cary Grant had just a couple Oscar nominations, no wins. Hitchcock didn't win. Mitchum got one nomination, but you realize here that tells the story that his kind of actor was so far ahead of its time. Because if Mitchum turned in these performances, if he'd started these performances in the mid-'80s and into the 21st century, no one would ever deny that he was one of the great actors of all time.
Absolutely. Yeah. He was doing what actors do today.
He was doing it well ahead of his time. Yeah. It sometimes seems like he's on a different, and Gregory Peck, a wonderful actor, but sometimes it seems like Mitchum is just on a different plane than everybody else in the movie.
Meanwhile, he wasn't a methody guy.
No.
That's what I mean by this was part of his history. It's in him. He was not a methody guy, but yet it looks like that's what he's doing.
Oof.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
When this came out, people must have been like, did they realize how dirty it was?
Yeah, when he talks about the crime that first sent him to prison, the crime that he clearly committed against his ex-wife, what he does to Barry Chase, who's wonderful in the movie, later played so spectacularly well by Ileana
Douglas did it in the remake, yes.
Again, I like this one better than the remake, which I also loved. One of the things it's better at, and shows a sign of how things had changed, is that here, Peck is totally blameless. He was just an innocent bystander who did the right thing and called the police when he recognized a woman being assaulted. That's what sent Mitchum to prison the first time. In the remake, they threaten the lawyer, Nick Nolte's legal career, because he lied, because he didn't do his utmost to defend his client, because he knew the client, De Niro, was evil and needed to go away. And that character flaw, right? That moment that Nolte had where he broke his oath and didn't defend his client correctly, that makes it more interesting,
It
right? It
does.
makes him more interesting and gives him a real personal motivation to fight this rather than just the nobility of defending your family, which is what Peck had.
It spins the story a little differently and kind of accelerates it right from the get-go. Also, the sexual stuff in Martin Scorsese's remake, especially with the daughter played by Juliette Lewis.
That's right. They made her a little bit. They made her a little bit older, not old enough, but they made her a little bit older.
And there's a whole flirtation that's certainly not in this version.
That's right. Yeah.
You also see the rape, and with Ileana Douglas's character, you see the rape and you see the murder. It's just it's intense. But this one, when you watch it, because there are things that are unspoken that you know exist and you know what he did, it's very scary. And those last 15 minutes are just horrifying. And I have to say, Polly Bergen I knew her a little bit in the Broadway world. She was a great stage actress too. And this was her first film in 8 years. And the fight scene, that struggle between them on the boat, they had to go in and stop it.
Between Mitchum and Polly Bergen?
She was bleeding. He cut his hand. There was blood all over the place, and they had to stop the fight. I mean, and there was a lot of improvisation too, especially physically. There was no intimacy coordinator and choreographer. They just kind of went in there and did it.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say, early in the movie, you get the way they set up Mitchum as evil, walking across the street, right? The way he looks at women, and then the other woman drops her books and he doesn't even think of helping.
Oh, no.
You're like, yeah, this is a sociopath.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We're told that instantly. It's
And that's such
very
a
effective.
detail, too.
Yeah, it's a lovely detail.
It's brilliant. I think he is phenomenal in this.
Well, you programmed this film. You also programmed the next film.
Yes.
A Night of Evil.
Mad Mitchum.
Yeah, I know. I don't like the alliteration, but evil Mitchum.
Well, but it's Mad Mitchum, so why you can rewrite the ending to a screenplay, but you cannot rewrite the title to This Evening.
I can do whatever I want. All right, more of evil Bob Mitchum.
Mad Mitchum.
Mad
Can't
Mitchum.
you just stick to the plan?
Okay, Mad Mitchum. Great.
Thank you.
thought
Don't
of
get me mad at Mankiewicz.
You didn't even think of three. Oh, there you go. You didn't even think of 3 words to begin with them. You thought of 2 and just repeated
Well, because
one of them.
comedy comes in threes.
Yeah, well, it came in 2s. You used the word mad twice.
Okay.
So this is The Night of the Hunter with Robert Mitchum. We just had Cape Fear. This is a great night of programming, pairing these 2 Mitchum films together.
Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome,
I've
Mario.
been thinking about this pair for a while.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad we finally did it.
This Charles Lawton film, only movie he directed.
He had directed some Broadway plays. You know I love to infuse the theater into our conversation. And this was his first and only motion
He
picture.
hated the experience, never did it again. It's a shame because this is a wonderful film, a scary film, a very, very stylish film as well.
You know, the German expressionistic look is kind of what he went for. It's all very silhouettes and the sets look very fake. And I think he did that on purpose. And it got not very good reviews when it came out.
Yeah, but now
it's
widely appreciated. It is anchored by the brilliant performance of Robert Mitchum as this fake preacher. We know that from the first second of the movie that he's a fake preacher and he's looking for this money where these little kids, their father, before he was taken away and eventually executed for a crime, hid some money, like $10,000. And Mitchum is looking for it and he's got to get it by getting the kids to open up.
I like him better in Cape Fear. I do have to say there's been a 10-year difference. I feel like he grew, but he's very good in this and also very creepy as this preacher.
Yeah, I mean, they're both great. He's terrific. I mean, he could play evil. And there's, in both movies, Cape Fear and this one, this is a character without an ounce of redemptive quality.
No, none. And of course, we have the great Shelley Winters, too.
Oh, Shelley.
I was thin then. I was very thin in this picture because I used to look like Mal. Yeah, she's in this. And it's such a different role for her.
Yeah.
She was always playing, kind of pathetic people. And in this, she's playing this. You'll see, it's a very strange character for her.
It's a very strange character.
Never played anything like this.
She's very good in it. Everybody's very good. The kids are very good. Billy Chapin, Sally Jane Bruce, they're
terrific. Billy Chapin is, you'll see, I'm the first to go, that kid stinks. But this kid is really good.
You'd be a great father.
Oh, no. When child stars, I'm like, not everybody's Patty McCormick.
That's right. But
Speaking of Patty McCormick.
The Bad Seed, right, and Evelyn Varden.
Is in this.
So Evelyn Varden plays, I don't know, I guess she's an aunt to the kids, or maybe she's just unclear what her direct relation is.
They
she
work
looks
together.
after the kids.
Her and Shelley work together.
But they're deeply religious. She has 2 great lines in this movie. We'll talk about them after the film. I couldn't, she's very, very, very funny in this and very strong character. As Ivy Spoon, married to Walt Spoon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you,
They
like you
run Spoons. They do. That's the name of their place.
That's right.
Yeah.
And she is very religious, and you'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
religion.
It's-
It is. It's a scary movie. I think we should do most of the conversation
afterwards, yeah.
But again, this is Mitchum at his terrifying best.
He's terrific. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Interesting that in both of these movies, Cape Fear and The Night of the Hunter, where there's every reason to kill this guy, right? He actually survives
Yep.
both movies.
He does. He really wanted to play this role, Robert Mitchum. He auditioned for it. And
And he was by 1955. He was already a
Yeah.
significant star.
but he auditioned for this movie, and Lawton, because Lawton wanted Gary Cooper, who thought it would be detrimental to his career. No one wanted to play unlikable, except for Betty Davis. You must be hated in pictures, otherwise your career is just over. It's true, though. And Charles Lawton wanted Elsa Lanchester to play Shelley Winter's role. But guess what I did? I ran her over with my car and I got the role. No, that's not true.
Great to have you here, Shelley. Shelley Winters is terrific. She's got a
great.
line at one point in the movie, you know, when there's that scene, and the most heartbreaking scene of the movie is where, you know, she so desperately wants the love and touch of a man. I mean, she marries this guy. She marries Mitchum. And
It's a desperate character.
Oh, it's a desperate character. And then that night that he shames her for wanting to sleep with him, right? And then later she's at that revival and she says, I feel clean now. My whole body is quivering with cleanliness.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's quivering, all
Yeah.
right. The imagery in this movie is stunning. You know what is really beautiful to me? The river that the children are on going down. It's beautifully done, and you can tell it's on a set.
Yeah, like
It-
so there's certain times when you're like, Mitchum could get to them, but the director, Charles Lawton, didn't care. There's a dreamlike quality to a lot of the movie.
absolutely.
When the children get away from him the first time to make their escape to the river in the skiff, they run up the stairs and Mitchum runs up the stairs after him and he's like reaching out. And in that moment, it feels like that little 2 seconds feels like you're watching an Abbott and Costello
Yeah.
monster movie. And it's also, to that point, it's also very funny at times. We talked a little
Very
bit about
funny.
Evelyn Varden in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, she's got that 2 great lines as she sees Shelley Winters sort of making the moves on Robert Mitchum, and then she's torn up over the loss of her husband, and Evelyn Varden says, "Oh, she's moaning about Ben Harper. That wasn't love. That was just flapdoodle. Have some fudge, lamb.
Oh, yeah.
You know, flapdoodle.
And
I mean,
she really wants that relationship for her. She's in
of course,
just
yeah.
as much denial as Shelley Winters. But she wants it for her. And then the turn at the end where she's the head of the lynch mob,
I
and
know.
she's like, let's get him.
because
It's
she's drunk.
and she's wasted. It's so perfect
Yeah.
for that character to make that turn where when they're on the wrong side of it all that time, and then there's that one thing they find out and they realize it, that they turn and they have a whole group. It's like it's like Kill the Beast.
That's right. Lawton's got something to say, too, about that lynch mob. Then in that same scene, a little bit later, she says, I've been married to my Walt for 40 years. I swear in all that time, I just lie there thinking about my canning. You know? I mean, again, the movie is there's so many funny lines. And
really-
she's terrific. in it.
And the way it's set up at the beginning with the stars and Lillian Gish and the children.
Forgot to mention Lillian Gish.
Lillian
When Lillian
Gish.
Gish comes out with the shotgun, it's one of the great movie
Oh,
moments of the time.
she's like this little petite cherub face, and she's got the gun, and she's just sitting there waiting for him.
Yep.
She's great in this too. It's a perfect casting. It really is.
Everlasting arms.
Mario and I are done for this evening, but we are back next week with Joan Crawford and...
Betty Davis. Of course, you must do an evening devoted to me.
Well, it's not a whole evening devoted to you. We'll also have some Joan Crawford.
Well, that can be ignored and spoken about briefly. We all know about Miss Crawford's problems.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Mario and I back next week with an evening of Betty and Joan.
Yes.
Creepy cinema.
Excellent.
Thanks, Mario.
See you next week, baby.
See you.